What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here with The Distance for part 3 of Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. equals developmental hell, part 3. I was talking about the skepticism. Actually, the last part was negotiations, and this part I'm going to end the part of negotiations and go to fans. But I was talking about how skeptical, the behavior of both camps were regarding the issues regarding the fight, such as drug testing. Venues was another issue, and because Aaron wanted it in Cowboy Stadium, not Jones, but Aaron wanted it in Cowboy Stadium, Mayweather wanted it in Las Vegas, and there's so many things that had to be done, so many things that had to be ironed out before this fight could pretty much be announced as happening. And pretty much what we heard, if you remember the first time, Mayweather agreed and Pacquiao didn't agree, and now Pacquiao agrees to everything. He agrees to the testing, and now we're waiting for Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s seal of approval, whether or not he approves of the contract at hand. Now, me personally, I do believe that Floyd Mayweather should sign the contract to his own demands, and I believe that Pacquiao did agree to the drug testing, and Mayweather has pretty much now has no choice but to sign the contract to the fight that he wanted, to the demands that he wanted, and also money's another issue regarding negotiation. Because this fight pretty much down the middle should be 50-50. That's plain and simple, 50-50 everything. Revenue from pay-per-view, revenue from stadiums, whatever profit is made, it should all be 50-50. I know that this fight, if it happens, would generate a lot of money, and it should just be 50-50, because it's not Floyd Mayweather Jr. going in doing all the work, or Manny Pacquiao going in the ring and doing all the work it takes to the fight. And just like how they say, it takes two to tango, it takes two to fight, and two to make a fight happen. So if they could, the right thing to go about this is have the little Olympic drug test. It's just like a teaspoon of blood, and also split everything right down the middle, and we can have a fight. It's that simple. It's nothing hard about that. It's everything 50-50. Manny Pacquiao brings about a big name, and Floyd Mayweather Jr. brings about a big name, and both of them bring pretty much the biggest paydays of each other's career, unless another big fighter comes along and is brought up the right way to fight one of them in the future. But right now, this fight possesses the biggest payday that both fighters will ever have in their careers. So this is just a fight that should happen, everything right down the middle, 50-50. And as well, let's get into the fans. Now, if you read through things like ESB, look through some YouTube channels, look through just some of these forums out there, Fight Fan, Fight Hype, you look at the comment section, either you have Floyd fans or you have Pacquiao fans. When you look closely at it, and when you analyze and you think about it, there are more people who are fans of Floyd and Pacquiao than actual boxing fans. And more people, and what you get is you have a lot of people who pretty much are leaning towards either Floyd or leans towards Pacquiao. Either you have people that are pro Mayweather and anti Pacquiao, or anti Mayweather, pro Pacquiao. That's what you see a lot of. And there's been a lot of debate over who has been the better fighter. Right now, both fighters are on top of their game. Manny Pacquiao coming off a very one-sided victory over Joshua Clottey. Floyd Mayweather Jr. coming off of a very good victory over Shane Mosley, a fight that that he seemed to be rocked in the second round of that fight, and he came back, won every round after. Won at least 10-11 rounds in that fight. So both fighters are coming off of some very good victories, very good one-sided victories. And this is one of the fights where there are no excuses. Nobody's hurt, nobody's injured. Just two men need to get in the ring and fight. If we wait another year or two for this fight to happen, then the anticipation is going to die down. This is a fight that I believe if it happened in March, it wouldn't be. I guess it wouldn't be as big as it would have been. It would be in November, because this is how I feel. Every time Pacquiao goes in and he has a very good performance or a very good victory over a legit welterweight like Miguel Cotto, despite the fact that it was not a real welterweight fight, it was at a catchweight. But at the same time, and another thing in negotiation that I didn't bring up was the catchweight. And catchweight, you can't really blame the fighters for it, because the fighters agree to those catchweights. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But every time Pacquiao goes in and he has a good victory, that leads to more anticipation. Every time Mayweather goes in and has a good victory, that leads to more anticipation from both sides, from fans of both fighters. But now it's like, who can Pacquiao beat that could lead to more anticipation for this fight? Who could Floyd Mayweather Jr. beat to lead to more anticipation for this fight? And at this moment, who could Pacquiao fight on pay-per-view and generate huge numbers? Who could Mayweather fight on pay-per-view and generate huge numbers? Now, both of them have pretty much proven to be able to fight other fighters and get big numbers and generate big numbers, outside of those fights. I mean, with fighters who have never fought on pay-per-view. But now it's just like they're kind of dancing around each other, and it's just right now it's just time for them to fight. If Pacquiao goes in and he fights Margarito, and Mayweather goes in and he fights Paul Williams, that leads to more anticipation. But say they both go in and they fight, like say Pacquiao goes in and he fights, and say he fights I'll say Zab Judah. Say Pacquiao fights Zab Judah, Mayweather fights Michael Jennings, then the anticipation dies down, and people just really won't care for the fight as much as they did after big victories like with Mayweather over Mosley or Pacquiao over Cotto. And I'm not gonna say Claudia because that one was so one-sided, but a lot of people gave that it was talking about Pacquiao getting better against a defensive fighter, but Claudia doesn't necessarily have a slick defensive style. He's more of a shell-up fighter. But with this fight, you have, as I mentioned, you have a lot of anti-Mayweather, anti-Pacquiao, pro-Mayweather, pro-Pacquiao fans. And I'll openly admit that some of these people are not fans of the sport, but fans of the fighter. And what this does is you're bringing the fans against each other for this fight. And not only are you bringing the fans against each other, but it settles the debate, because you have Mayweather as best, you have Pacquiao as best. Pacquiao didn't necessarily get hurt in his last fight. Mayweather didn't get hurt with any injuries from his last fight, from what we know. So now it's time for both of them to go in and face each other November 13th. So anyway, this is not my last development hell video. I got another one coming for you guys. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.